to protect our health and well-being, and at the same time be able to connect through this technology. And I choose to go the latter route because I am absolutely so grateful that we're still together. I said in our Wednesday service last Wednesday evening that one way or the other, we are going to stay connected, and I'm glad that we are doing so in this way. Before we begin our service, I would like to invite our board president, Blair Thompson, who has probably had more conversations with me in the last week than he ever imagined, or I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing, but I know how much I appreciate having been in touch with him so we can talk about how to do church under these circumstances.
Hello. So one of the great blessings of this is I do get to have those conversations with the Reverend Mark. We get to know each other in ways we never knew before, and it's just been a joy of collaboration with him. So here we are. Last week we were here in the sanctuary. This week we're not. We're completely online, doing Facebook, doing Zoom. We'll have it up on YouTube, and this is where we're going. Today we're going to do the service basically the same way we have the last couple years, and all the same components. I'm sure that this coming week we'll gather and we're going to figure out the optimal online platform is and how we're going to do it, and it will be different, but we'll be here. Last service we had about 150 people following us online. I think that's a huge number. Very, very pleased. So, you know, tell your friends, if you know somebody in the congregation who may not be as techno-savvy or whatever, help them. Give them a call, say, hey, do you know about this? Do you know how to do it? I'll walk you through it. That's real nice. You know, we've done everything we can to get the word out, how we're going to be going out, but we don't get everybody. So, with that, enjoy.
So I invite Joanne and Sam and Karen Smith, who is with us today, to lead us in our congregational opening.
The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Amen.
So once again, welcome to our 11:30 a.m. service here at the North Hollywood Church. I realize there may be some of you who are joining us remotely who have not come to our services here before, so I should probably introduce myself. I'm Reverend Mark LaPonce. I'm the assistant minister to Dr. Mark Vieira, our senior minister, who will be back with us tomorrow night. We are so glad he'll be returning in person, although of course he's been in touch with us throughout this time. One of our first announcements on Sundays is usually to remind people to turn off their cell phones. So you see, there's a blessing in everything. Now you get to decide whether or not you want to turn off your cell phone. Although, if you don't, just remember when we're back together, which we are knowing will be soon, don't pick up that bad habit when walking into the sanctuary, please. So, I would like to begin by reading a letter from Dr. Mark to the congregation. Dear church family, I know these are stressful times for everyone as we are in some new territory. Know that our love and prayers are with you. We are monitoring the situation on a daily basis. I encourage you to do what makes you feel safe. This is not the time to stretch your faith. However, it is the time to do your daily spiritual practice with sincerity, to pray and meditate every day. As I'm currently on retreat, you can also be on retreat when you are at home. Make the most of your time. Call each other. Try to stay high-minded. Pray with each other. Respond rather than react. As we just sang in our service that we sing so often on Sunday, remind yourself of the fact, the light of God surrounds me, the love of God enfolds me, the power of God protects me, and the presence of God watches over me. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. Know that you are loved. I look forward to being together soon. Love, peace, and blessings. Dr. Mark Vieira. I also just want to reiterate that any of our church programs, gatherings of any kind right now are postponed. However, we are looking at ways to provide you with these services still via Zoom and Facebook Live and any other means. So those of you who are joining us today, this same link, the same phone number, if you've called in to listen over the phone, will be available for you to watch or listen to the Wednesday evening service at 7 p.m. My topic this Wednesday is, Where's God in This? I know how to pick them, don't I? We are also, it'll be the same link and phone number for our Sunday services or service. We're still discussing whether or not we'll go down to one service, but we'll keep it on that. We're looking for a way to provide you with a grief support group, which was to meet today, but we may be able to provide that to you remotely next Sunday. Some classes, I will continue to teach the Foundations class via Zoom, so we will be meeting tomorrow evening. I know Carol Winokur is making arrangements for her group to continue to meet for Tuesdays with Torah. So we will find ways, including we're looking at ways to provide you with the ability to connect with a practitioner after service for prayer. All of these things are in the works. Some have already been established, but tune in to our website, www.nhcrs.org. We will keep you posted as to how we're doing church today, because things change day to day. If you don't have internet access, dial the church phone number, 818-762-7566. Press option 1 when you get the greeting, and that will tell you about our services, what we're doing, not doing that week. Our offices are close to the public. We'll be coming periodically a couple of checks and shortly, but make sure we handle some of handled here. With that, I say it might be nice to join together in prayer. So let's turn within right now. And so as we turn inward, just feeling that part of us that every moment seeks to be happy, to be well, to be at peace, to thrive, to experience goodness and wholeness and well-being in every way possible. And I recognize that as the impulse that is felt throughout the universe. It is the impulse of God, the impulse of that infinite love, that divine intelligence, that infinite creativity that impels itself into creation and that lives at the center of all that is, including me, including each and every person gathered together via this internet via the web, this divine idea that has come forth as a way to keep us connected. I absolutely know that that life of God is being expressed everywhere throughout creation. And I absolutely know that God is unfolding throughout our time together. I feel that vibration of love. Even though we are not physically together, I can feel the love of us being interconnected on the unseen side of life. I absolutely give thanks for that presence of love as it has worked through all of those who have come together to make this service possible. I absolutely know that we are touched and uplifted by that vibration of the divine as it moves through our soloist Joanne this morning, our music director Sam, our flautist Karen. And I absolutely know that we hear the perfect word of God through our beloved guest, Reverend Patrick Harbula, this morning, that Patrick speaks the word that touches our hearts, that helps us to remember that presence of the divine in us, to experience it more fully, and to carry that consciousness forward into our lives. And so I'm giving thanks right here, right now, for all the healing and revealing that I know is occurring throughout our time together. And in gratitude, just giving thanks for the goodness that God is always. I release this word knowing it is so, I let it be, and so it is. And together we say, Amen. So please join me in saying the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen.
I am at home in the heart of God. A greater good is what I accept. Yes, I'm at home in the heart of God. And all my needs are divinely met. The power of God is within me. First I believe and then I see. I'm filled with love and prosperity. I live the life I was meant to. I do the things I intend to. I know the truth and it sets me free. I am at home in the heart of God. A greater good is what I accept. Yes, I'm at home in the heart of God. And all my needs are divinely met. The power of God is within me. First I believe and then I see. I'm filled with love and prosperity. I live the life I do the things I do. I know the truth and it sets me free. I am at home in the heart of God. A greater good is what I accept. Yes, I'm at home in the heart of God. And all my needs are divinely. All fear and lack are behind me. Yes, all my needs are divinely met.
Amen. Thank you, Joanne, Sam, and Karen. Okay, so this is the time where we get to give ourselves that gift of coming together collectively as a consciousness to just get still and commune with that presence of the divine within us. So for the next 5 minutes, I invite you to just get still, close your eyes, turn your attention inward, and silently repeat to yourself, God is the love that I am. God is the love that I am. Silently repeat that over and over, and I'll bring us out of meditation in 5 minutes. Beautiful, Joanne, as always. Thank you so much. Well, I can't tell you how excited I am to be able to introduce you to this very, very dear to my heart individual, our guest speaker today, Reverend Patrick Harbula. Reverend Patrick, we've known each other for, we probably shouldn't say, quite a while. I discovered that he lived locally and started working with him as him being a spiritual coach to me after I read his book, Magic of the Soul. It touched my heart deeply, and been working with him ever since. We have one deal, you know, since I get to spill my heart and guts to him as things come up in my life, he's not allowed to share any of those stories during his talk today. Reverend Patrick Harbula has been a spiritual leader, counselor, and coach for over 35 years and reaches hundreds of thousands with his writing and personal and media appearances. Reverend Patrick is author of, as I said, Magic of the Soul, Applying Spiritual Power to Daily Living. And that's become part of our denomination Center for Spiritual Living curriculum. And he just released the book by St. Martin's Press, Meditation, the Simple and Practical Way. He's founder of the Living Purpose Institute and creator of the Life Coaching Certification Program and the Primal Fire Institute. He was ordained as an independent religious science minister by the late Dr. Earl Barnum in 1985, and then affiliated with our current denomination, Centers for Spiritual Living, in 2010. He trained in spiritual psychology under the late Dr. Vivian King. He's also ordained and recognized as a Doctor of Divinity through Spiritual Unity Movement, of which he was the president for 12 years. He founded Meditation Magazine. He was formerly a director for Sage Publications, a world-renowned social science publisher. Reverend Patrick will not be available to sign his books after the service. However, I'm sure you can get them out there on Amazon and other locations. And this morning, he's speaking to us on inner peace. Please welcome from out there in cyberspace, my dear, dear friend and mentor, Reverend Patrick Harbula.
The hardest part about this is not hugging these people that I love so much. It's great to be here, and little did I know when I was first invited to come to this day that I'd bring my life to do so. But I got to tell you, as Mark said, we go way back, and anyone who's part of this church knows that this is the most compassionate, loving, and enlightened person on the planet that I know. And when I said this in the first service, they said there was a lot of agreement coming through on Zoom. So yeah, it's beautiful to be here. And I also want to say something about this lovely lady, Joanne O'Brien, who the last song in the last service, she's doing the same one this service. Just get ready. It's so beautiful, so perfect, so appropriate. And I was just sitting there wondering, how does someone, what's the science of how tones like that come out of a vocal package like that? It's just amazing. So it's beautiful to be here. And, you know, normally when I prepare a new talk, you know, I have a formula to it. I create some stories that will inspire you, a couple of jokes to make you laugh, and maybe we'll laugh through this. But I didn't design any of that. I just wanted to be really present and come from the heart and just share with you the practices that helped me to be as consistently as possible at a place of inner peace throughout my life, throughout this crisis that we're all going through. So I'm not going to tell a lot of jokes. I'm just going to share from my heart. So a priest, a rabbi, and a coronavirus germ go into a bar. No, I'm kidding. And the bar was closed. Great punchline. Thank you. Usually I work alone, but that was great. No. But we're never alone, are we? We're actually, you know, when I was sitting there meditating, I said this in the first service too, I thought, wow, is this going to be difficult speaking to 8 people in this service? And I just decided, no, I am going to reach out, connect through the ethers, and I'm actually feeling the vibration, the energy, the presence of everyone who is home, which is probably a much larger crowd than we could fit in this building, right? So let's enjoy this virtual experience together. And you know, if you're at home and maybe I know when I'm watching something online, I'm sometimes multitasking, but invite you, whatever will bring you the most joy, but will it bring you joy to just set everything aside and let's connect heart to heart with the people that we have here, the 8 people in the sanctuary with all of you at home. So I said in the first service that I was going to expand on some of the things that I didn't get to because I have like about 3 hours worth of practices I'd like to share with you. So I'm going to kind of go in reverse order, I think, from the first service. So the talk I was originally going to do was radical gratitude and entrance into the sacred. So let me just talk a little bit about that. The Magic of the Soul, my first book, the major theme in that is radical gratitude. Looking for the magic in every experience. Looking for the greater freedom, love, joy that wants to emerge from the things that challenge us the most. Because, you know, as conscious beings, don't we look back in our life and think, wow, that time that was so difficult, that's the time that I grew the most. We might even say that is when, you know, it was a blessing in disguise. But what happens when we experience a new challenge, like this worldwide pandemic that's going on? Our first instinct usually is to resist, right? What would it be like to invite the blessing in the moment? Because what I find is whatever we resist not only persists, but magnifies. In fact, if we have a physical illness, we are actually, and we're resisting that, or we're resisting the symptoms, or I'm resisting pain that I'm feeling. I'm creating a block in energy, the energy that moves up and down my spine. Wherever the pain is, wherever the symptom is, I'm creating a block in that energy at that spot in my energy field. But as soon as I embrace, what we resist persists, what we embrace becomes our ally, becomes our teacher, becomes our healer. So as soon as I embrace, then the energy flows freely. And what's the energy? God, love, synonymous. Love is the only energy that heals. So when I'm resisting, I'm blocking the very energy I need for healing. When I embrace, the energy flows, and that's all that has to happen then. And then if we add in our positive vibration, our affirmations, our spiritual mind treatments, then it just speeds up the healing even more. So in The Magic of the Soul, I talk about my chronic illness and how I was resisting the symptoms going into it. How could this happen to me? You know, I've been a meditator since I was 18 years old. I've been practicing these principles in religious science since I was 23 years old, and yet here I was finding myself chronically ill. And it was finally when I got to the place, after trying everything, that I just decided, if I am to die from this, I'm going to use dying as a journey to understand who I am at the deepest level possible. Who I am as a spiritual being, as pure love at the deepest level possible. And guess what happened? Yes, I started to heal. And it didn't happen in a direct way. It was a very gradual process. It was cyclic, actually. I would start to feel better, and then I would go out and do something I used to be able to do, like take a walk. and that would put me back in bed for days. And then I would remember, oh yeah, and I'd resist again, because it felt so good just to feel a little bit better, to have a little bit of energy back. And then I'd resist again when it felt uncomfortable. And then I remember, oh yeah, it was that surrendering thing that got me to feeling better. And so I would go back into surrender. It was as though, not as though, it was my soul creating the absolute perfect experience and dynamic for me to learn how to be in a consistent state of surrender. I ask you, what would your life be like in a consistent state of surrender, or at least relatively consistent state of surrender? And so this practice that emerged from that, and it became the theme of the book, which was originally written to talk about the magic of the soul, how to manifest what we want. But what came to me is what's even more magical than manifesting what we want in life. It's appreciating what we have. And appreciating not only the things that bring us joy, obviously, but especially those things that challenge us the most. And so what has evolved for as a result of looking for and finding the magic in every experience is the practice of non-attachment, which is not a new idea. There's this guy named Siddhartha Gautama who talked about this a few years ago, right? It's the basis of Buddhism. It's non-attachment. Because what I have found is the only way to true peace is to be non-attached, or at least relatively non-attached, because completely non-attached would be an ideal, but relatively non-attached to outcomes in the world of form. Some people might say, well, if I become completely non-attached, won't I become apathetic? And I find, and anyone who has gone down this path finds, there's the opposite. The more at peace I am, the more I want to share that peace with others. The more I am motivated and inspired to want to share the good news, to want to share this inner experience of the world. And so I become more active and more alive in my social activity. Distanced right now. And that brings me to the next point. Well, let me say this first. The side benefit, by the way, of being non-attached is when we are attached, there's always some conscious or unconscious fear that what I want to have, or when I am attached, there's always conscious or unconscious fear that what I want to happen won't happen, or what I don't want to happen will happen. And so I'm putting that negative energy then into what I don't want, which is actually holding what I don't want in place. When I'm non-attached, I'm at peace, and therefore I have more power to create what I do want. As I write in The Magic of the Soul, the most powerful consciousness for manifesting what I want is to be clear about what it is, to speak it to the universe, to even demand it at the same time, and I know this is a huge dichotomy, to be completely, or at least highly non-attached to how, when, or even if it occurs. My favorite affirmation that I practice all the time now is, wouldn't it be fun if? Wouldn't it be fun if what comes out of this experience we're all having is a more enlightened world? Maybe that's why it's happening. As I said in the first service, I saw a meme the other day that said, maybe it feels like the earth has sent us to our rooms to think about what we've been doing, right? And if that becomes our experience, if we go to our rooms, and if we go home, and of course I mean deep into our hearts, and get to a place of deep reflection, which what is being caused. If we're resisting, we're not going to get that. We're going to be in fear, we're going to be in panic. But if I go with the flow, if I give up resistance, and I allow this experience to take me where our collective soul, I am sensing, wants us to go, it's into the truth of who we are. And aren't we seeing that all over the internet? And I've never seen more humorous memes on any one subject than this. Isn't it amazing that we can laugh about the most challenging thing that probably any of us have experienced in our lifetimes? And isn't it bringing us closer together? I'm so fortunate to have family that, I've got 5 people living with me now. My beautiful wife, Karina, my daughter who came back from San Francisco to be with us, our tenant, Taylor, and John, who just moved in with us because he needed a place to stay. And last night we were playing Taboo and having a great time. We're bonding in a way never before. But my heart really goes out to those people who live alone and might feel isolated. So another way that we can be in inner peace and to show up as the truth of who we are is to be in service. My wife and daughter went out and were bringing home food and supplies to the homeless yesterday. And so my encouragement, if there's one simple thing we can do, if you know somebody who is alone in their quarantine, give them a call today. Yeah, I am going to do that. And don't just text. Maybe some people text. It's how much time do we have. But those real people who are really close to you, that would be really meaningful, give them a call or give them a video call so they can see your face and connect in that way. It's amazing that we're connecting through this technology right now. So, meditation is the next practice I want to talk about. If you're not already in a meditative practice, I encourage you, simple way is 3 to 5 minutes a day. Sit down in the morning and just visualize or feel how you want this day to go, how you want to deal with your feelings, how you want to deal with this crisis, how you want to interact with others. What spirit, what qualities of spirit do you want to be sharing on this day? If you're already a meditator, you can add that into. That is the most important part of my meditation. I meditate about 20 minutes a day, and most of it is just going into pure bliss and deep meditation. But the most important, and that's the most profound, but the most important is simply visualizing how I want this day to be, right? And I guarantee you the day's going to go better. Another practice, if you're feeling a lot of distress with all this, wake up in the morning and just say, today is going to be a magical day no matter what. Today is going to be an amazing day. Speaking of amazing, I did a practice in the first service that I'm not going to do. Reverend Mark and I demonstrated it in this service. I'm not going to take the time again. But you can watch that, right? You can go back and watch it on the replay. Or you can go to an interview that Joanne O'Brien did with me a couple of years ago on her amazing show called The Amazing Hour. Just go to YouTube and put in Amazing Hour Harbula, and it'll come right up. And it not only demonstrates the process, but gives you the whole philosophy behind it. It's pivoting. It's just simply focusing on what we want more than we want. That sounds pretty simple, doesn't it? But there's a measurement, and that's the important part of this. What percentage of the day today was I focused on what I want compared to what I don't want? And here I want to bring it down to simplicity, too. And I was thinking in between services about the people, because I'm really fortunate. I don't think this is going to affect my finances very much. Who knows? We'll see what happens. And even if it does, I know I'm going to be in prosperity consciousness regardless. Did you know that there were more millionaires made in the 2009 recession than any other time in not human, but in U.S. history? Because there were a certain amount of people who said, how can I move beyond or shift what I have been doing as the outer climate shifting in order for me to prosper? So, and here's the law of attraction brought down to the simplest common denominator is this. When I am in dissatisfaction, I am repelling everything that I want, all good things. When I am in gratitude, I am attracting everything that I want, all good things. What percentage of the day today Am I in gratitude compared to dissatisfaction? It's very simple practice. I love simplicity. Spirit is simple. And you know, another thing that I didn't say in the first service, but is my favorite practice, is just living from an inner experience of freedom and joy. It's an inside-out game. You know, it's so seductive to think that, you know, when I get this other experience, when I have more money, when I get the right relationship, when this pandemic is over, then I'll feel good. But we know that our inner experience is what is reflected in the outer. So what would it be like if we all simply feel that completion, feel the abundance now, feel the total healing now, live from the energy of the completed vision, is the phrase that came to me many years ago. Live, not just affirm it, not see it in the future. Live from the energy of it. I'll give you a quick game about how to play with that. If I wrote you a check, and I'm speaking to all the people who might be concerned about finance right now especially. If I wrote you a check today for $5 million that's post-dated for December 1st, 2020, how would you feel? Now, you don't have any more money to spend tomorrow than you did today. But everyone I've asked this question to ever says, I'd feel amazing. I'd feel fantastic. I'd feel abundant. So what has more powerful? A piece of paper with some zeros, a 1 and some 0, or 5 and some zeros, and a signature, or your consciousness? That's living from the energy of the completed vision. Living from the energy of the completed vision about healing for this virus that so many people are afflicted by. So, you know, in non-attachment, the other thing about non-attachment and radical gratitude is we get to see the bigger picture when we become non-attached, right? There's this, in the Upanishads, ancient Hindu Vedic text, there's this passage that says that everything that has manifested since the Big Bang until everything dissolves again, or until we reach the pinnacle of manifestation, is one out-breath in the breathing of Brahma, the breathing of God. And when everything just dissolves into nothing, that is but the in-breath of Brahma, one in-breath of Brahma, and the breathing of Brahma is infinite. So this tiny little pandemic we're having right now is just a tiny little glitch in our infinite existence. Can you feel that? Let's take a deep breath to the expansiveness of that reality. You know, a few months from now or a year from now, this is going to be a non-issue. We're going to be back on our rolling. We'll have vaccines. We'll have all kinds of wonderful stuff. Until the next challenge that will also bring us deeper. Everything that happens is always happening for us, even when it doesn't look like it. And I know that you know that. I know I'm preaching to the choir. Almost every client I've called in the last couple weeks say, so how are you doing? How are you holding up? I'm doing great, everybody says. And even in that, I know that all of us to some degree are feeling a little something, right? So here's the most important practice. And I know I'm preaching to the choir with this too, but I know we can all take this deeper, and that's self-love. I don't think, in fact, in our teaching that we talk about self-love enough. I think, in my estimation, that should be Science of Mind 101, is self-love. Because look, you could know all of the principles and how to say the most powerful spiritual mind treatment, but if I don't love myself, I can't manifest any more than I feel I deserve, and I only deserve how much based on how much I love myself. So here's the question I ask to a lot of clients to help raise self-esteem is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you love yourself? If it's less than a 10, then there's room for improvement. If it's less than a 5, it is the most important thing you can do in your life. So how do we love ourselves more? This is the affirmation I offer to people. I love myself no matter what, in every circumstance. Because, it's easy to love myself when I just gave a great talk, at the Church of Religious Science. Or I just did something that, made me $20,000. Or I just said something that made my beloved laugh. But if I can love myself when I just made a mistake that cost me $20,000, when I just bombed in my talk, when I just said something that made my beloved cry, if I can love myself in those moments, that's the true test of self-love, yes? So that's the practice. When you feel discomfort, when you feel shame, when you feel anything that is uncomfortable or like you have done something wrong, I love myself no matter what. You say, the more you'll be reminding yourself, I love myself no matter what. So let me tell you about the workshop that we're not going to do this afternoon. I usually do a workshop after a talk like this. So one of the things we do is the pivoting process and some other things. So what I always offer in my workshops is a complimentary coaching session, spiritual life coaching session. So I'm offering that. I don't usually do it in the service, but I'm offering it to everyone who's watching. So I think they're putting my phone number up there. I'll say it one time, 805-469-9847. Send me a text, send me an email, and we'll set up a time if you'd like. So I'm going to close with a story about my teacher, Dr. Vivian King, who was hit by a drunk driver and became a quadriplegic. And I got to spend a lot of time with her near the end of her life. And she was a beautiful woman, amazing teacher. And she said, near the end of her life, she said, Patrick, she speak in whispers that were amplified, the use of voice and her limbs. She was in a wheelchair, of course. She said, I'm a speaker who can no longer speak, or a teacher who can no longer speak. I'm a writer who can no longer write. But as long as I have a physical body, I can remain a presence of peace and love and joy in this world. So sometimes when I have challenges in my life, I think about Vivian and think, wow, if she could be at that vibration, then I know I can rise to that too. Maybe what this virus is calling us to do. I saw one email that said, this is our perfect enemy. And maybe it's not our enemy at all. Maybe it is our ally, helping us to raise our vibration of peace and light and love. I know you guys get it. I know you're already doing that. But what if we step it up like 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 times as much as we've been doing? I don't think we can help but do that. And I don't think the whole world can help do that. I think that our teaching is about to explode because it's what the world needs more than ever. It's love, sweet love. It came to me this way when I was talking to a client about self-love, is that when I love myself unconditionally, what I realize is that I am not myself. I am in fact the self. I am in fact pure love. And so are you. And I love you. And I'm so honored to be able to connect you in this moment of love. Blessings. Let's bring this into prayer. Let's take a nice, deep, healing breath. Let's just dive deep into that experience of the truth of our pure life, pure magnificence, pure joy. What I know and feel in the moment is that who we are is infinite, magnificent, We have the power to create and heal anything right now. What's been called, and perhaps in truth, is a coming together demic in light and love, is drawing us together unlike we have ever been together again. Feeling the truth of our teacher, that we are truly one, that we're inspired in these times to reach out and comfort and care for each other, to increase our kindness, to increase our expression of joy in the midst of challenge, to increase our prosperity consciousness, because the true test of prosperity consciousness is feeling prosperous when it looks like there's a challenge. And to allow that truth of who we are to just easily and effortlessly come forward and be our expression in our daily activities, through our thoughts, our words, our feelings, and our actions. And so we give thanks for this moment of truth. We give thanks for coming together in this sacred way right here and right now through this amazing technology that shows that we are one in an outward way, a reflection of our inner oneness. So in gratitude as well for the challenges that are bringing us together, and we know that it's all good all the time, and together we say, and so it is.
I am so.
Can people get, I know that's on your CD, that recording.
Yes, that song was written by David Friedman. Shout out to David Friedman. And at the same time was Ann Hampton Calloway. I have a recording of We Can Be Kind. You can go listen to it. You can download it. You can do whatever. And there's great recordings of both of those songs. So support everybody. That's all I have to say.
Absolutely. How do they get it, Joanne?
Oh, iTunes, YouTube. Hit me up on Facebook. Follow me as The Inspired Siren on Instagram. And that's it. You'll find me there.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. And thank you as well to Sam Krieger and Karen Smith. Thank you so much. So we are hoping that by next week we will have a way to connect you with practitioners after the service as well, so you'll be able to join us in prayer. Dean, back there in the Mommy and Me room, is signaling that he will try to do that after service. So if you would like prayer with a practitioner, Dean will be there on the Zoom call to help you out with that. Once again, we want to say a huge, huge thank you to Reverend Patrick Harbula. Thank you so much. What a perfect message for us today. If you would like to reach out to Reverend Patrick for a session, I know you offered that at the last service. It's at Magic of the Soul, just like his book. So Patrick at magicofthesoul.com. Is there anything else? Just please stay connected with us on our website, NHCRS.org, so we can keep you informed. Things are changing day to day. We may go down to one service next week. Since we're all in cyberspace, we don't have to worry about space here in the sanctuary. So keep checking in. If you don't have internet connection, one more time, call the office, 818-762-7566. I should be on a telethon. I think it's my next calling. And press option 1, and that will give you information on anything that we're changing in terms of days, times, etc. Again, and hope to see you out there in cyberspace on Wednesday evening. Meditation at 6:50, and the service starts at 7. Thank you once again for being with us for this service. Let's all join together into singing the peace song.